I'm watching
All right.
Elon and Gardner Webb.
We are live. All right, sports update. We got the fellas in the building. Adrian, Reid, what's good?
Was good.
Let's go ahead and dive right in. Let's start off with these hot Red Wings, man. Red Wings are on fire right now. Currently on the 6-game win streak. Currently got 72 points. If the season ended right now, they would be in the playoffs. They would be in the playoffs. Excuse me. So Reid, how has this Wings team been on this 6-game win streak? And the trade deadline is March 8th. Do you expect them to make any moves by the March 8th deadline?
Yeah, I mean they've shown that they're doing pretty crazy things, considering where they've been in the season. Patrick Kane's looking, better than ever. People didn't expect him to be this good. Obviously, he was on that small little injury stint. They said it wasn't the surgery that he took, the hip surgery that he had. But yeah, all the guys are playing really well. I mean, Raymond is looking like a superstar. DeBrincat obviously was a signing from the beginning of this season. He's looking like a superstar. Kane's looking like a superstar. Larkin, DeBrincat, and Raymond all have 50-plus points. I think they're the first three to do that since Datsuk, Zetterberg, and Hossa. So yeah, I mean they're playing great. I think they are down now, but they are playing an Islanders team that's pretty decent. I don't think they're as good. Things can change in hockey, obviously. So we'll see. When they score, 6, 7, 8 goals a game, you're going to win. When you're scoring football touchdowns in games, you're going to win. So I don't think goalkeeping is that much of a problem. I think they need to shore up that defense for sure, that the left side of the defense. I think maybe call up Edvinson from Grand Rapids. The Grand Rapids Griffins are on a hot streak as well. I believe that they've won 10 games in a row or something like that. I think they've gotten 16 points in the last few games that they've had. So yeah, I expect them to make a move. I know Stevie Y, obviously Steve Yzerman is a little closed door when it comes to free agency. You don't really know a whole lot. If you can get a solid defenseman to get packaged in a trade and you don't have to give up crazy amount of draft picks or prospects, I think he should definitely do it. I know Calgary's having some fire sales. New Jersey might be able to be willing to get rid of some guys, some West Coast teams. So yeah, I definitely think he needs to. Will he go get that big superstar name? I don't think so, but I definitely think that he'll try and get, some sort of depth, maybe second or third line guy that can help out with like a veteran presence on this defense. So, I mean, I think it's looking good for him.
I would agree right now. Like you said, they are down 2-0 against the Islanders, but on a 6-game win streak, they've only gave up a total of 10 goals. And the biggest thing we talked about was the ability to stop goals from getting scored. Anytime they weren't scoring over 4 goals, they were, getting beat. But this team is just feel like they're catching it. The Little Caesars is rocking. We all know how the home ice can matter, especially here in Detroit where fans love their hockey. So I think that's a big part of it. And that line is one of the best lines. That first line they have is one of the best lines in hockey, top 5 at least. So I think if they keep that momentum going, a lot of people talked about a few weeks ago about just them making the playoffs, but I definitely think they have the potential to. I'm going to go for it and say they at least win a first round series. I'm going for it. I'm saying they do it. Will they make a move? Possibly. If it is, it's something very little, slight. I don't think, like we already talked about, Stevie Y is going to mortgage the future yet. I think if anything, if they do that, it'll be next off season or going into next season. But I think where they're at right now is playing a lot better than we expected them to be doing right now. We'll just say that, especially where they started good, got into a little slump, and now it seems like they're catching fire with the week away from the trade deadline. But like I said, I'm taking the Wings to win a first round playoff series.
Yeah, I don't think that's too much to ask, especially with the way they're playing right now. But offensively, they keep this offensive pace up. Yeah, they'll definitely be able to win a series for sure. And we got to see what Stevie Y does, if he makes any significant moves or any insignificant moves by the March 8th trade deadline. So, yeah, Wings, they got the Islanders at home tonight. And, we'll see if they pull that out. Shout out Gabe in the building.
A big thing to monitor, which I should actually turn this game on, but I should monitor this Coyotes Leafs game because the Leafs are the team ahead of us in points by I think 1 point, and we play the Coyotes play the Coyotes in like 3 games or something like that. Well, they're losing to Toronto, so that's not great. But yeah, I mean the East is heavy with the Panthers, the Bruins, the Leafs, and the Lightning are all well, Panthers and Bruins are up there. I think they have like 82 points apiece, but Toronto, Tampa, and the Wings are all kind of bunched up here. So
yeah. So we'll see if they stay hot. 6-game winning streak right now. We'll see if they make it 7 against New York tonight. All right, so let's switch over to college basketball. We got these tournament games about to start. So Adrian, where you at with this Michigan State, Michigan, and who would your number 1 seeds be right now if the tournament was to start today?
I think there's no question about it. Is the three out of the 4 are set. I believe in Houston, first year in the Big 12 with Calvin Sampson. They're dominating right now, even playing better than Kansas, UConn, reigning national champions. Only lost a couple guys, but still playing phenomenal basketball. 3 are in our home conference, the Big 10 Purdue Boilermakers with Zach Edey, who'll probably win back-to-back Player of the Year awards. And 4, I'm going to go on a limb, and I'm not going to be biased, but I'm going to go with my North Carolina Tar Heels. They'll get that 4th number 1 seed.
No bias at all. No bias at all.
RJ Davis dropping 42 points against Miami on Monday night. Phenomenal performance, but it's between them and Arizona. But I'm gonna give them an edge. Maybe a little biased, but I believe it could go either them or Arizona. As long as they went out, already got a win against Duke. Those are my number 1 seeds. I think we're 2.5 weeks out to Selection Sunday. 2 weeks from Sunday as it is. So we got this weekend and then next week and then tournament start and then NCAA tournament start. So it's coming fast, man.
What 1 seed do you think has the best chance of winning it all?
UConn, because they've been there before. They've got a lot of their guys, a lot of their core guys back. Their coach is fiery. They got length in the backcourt. Klingon is good. I just think they have everything that needs to be done. Purdue, I don't trust until I see them actually do something. We've talked about this before. Purdue always loses when it matters most. No matter if we taking it back to the Etwan Moore days, even the Glenn Rice or the Glenn Big Dog Robinson teams, they just never come through. Even when they had Carson Edwards, Jaden Ivey and company, I'll have to believe Purdue. For me to see it, they got to actually show me. But I definitely think UConn is no doubt has a chance to repeat.
Yeah, I agree with Adrian again. And I say it every week when we talk about college basketball. I'm probably not the best person to really fill in on it so much to speak. But excuse me, I think that UConn probably does have the best chance because, again, like Adrian said, they've been there before. So I would probably take them. I mean, Houston did go pretty deep last year. Purdue is probably the one team that I said it before. They are a team because I do watch the tournament. I think it's one of the best sporting viewing experiences that you can watch for any sporting event. But I think that Purdue is probably going to get bounced early. I mean, Edey obviously is a freak at being Frankenstein at 7'3" or whatever he is. And, but he can only do so much for you when you come up against a team that has good shooting and talent and can play defense against your perimeter guys. So, yeah, I definitely think UConn, like Adrian said, they've been there. North Carolina is obviously a good team too. I honestly think this is going to be the most wide open that we'll see the tournament that we've seen it in a long time. Probably be some blue bloods in there, but I definitely think that there could be some crazy upsets too. This season there's not that team that only has 1 loss. No losses going into it. I think everybody was lost here, right? So yeah, I think there's going to be a big shakeup this year, and I would love to see I'd love to see some Cinderella team like a 4 or 5 seed win it all. I think that'd be awesome, and that would be really good for college basketball. That's what makes the tournament exciting too.
For sure. So, Adrian, do you have any sleeper teams? Any teams that's non-number 1 seeds that you think could get in the tournament and be dangerous to go on the run?
If I was giving you a sleeper team right off the bat, top of my head, I'll go Washington State. Out of the Pac-12, Kyle Smith's done a great job. Got him ranked in the top 25 for the first time in a long time. Former alma mater of Klay Thompson of the Golden State Warriors. A lot of people don't get to watch him play, but they have some veteran guys on the team. I think they can definitely make some noise in the tournament. It's not being talked about a lot.
the teams that I always like, that I always seem to root for, or when they make it in, is like the Creightons, the Providence. Like Providence always makes noise. Marquette obviously always makes noise. So I always go for those teams. I have to wait until the brackets come out, obviously, because we don't know who's in or where they're going to stand. But I always like those teams to go pretty far. They never obviously win it, but like I was on the Creighton bandwagon all last season when they were playing.
Yeah, you gotta kind of look for those. Hold on a second, guys. Sorry.
I'm looking at these combine numbers. There's not a lot of guys. I know we're going to be talking about it later, Raj, but not a lot of these linebackers participated in the drills that I expected to. Like I wanted to see like Junior Colson and some of these other guys, and there's only about 15 guys that participated in these drills. So.
Yeah. So we can switch over to that. So yeah, NFL Combine did start today. Today was what D linemen and linebackers, correct?
Yeah, linebackers are going right now.
Yeah. So Adrian, I know you've been all over it. So who are the defensive linemen and linebackers who stood out to you so far?
Byron Murphy, the guy me and Reid have been really high on. He tested well at the combine. Shade over 6 feet. I think he weighed in at 295, but just a pure stud. He can play that nose. Like Teronje Sweat out of Texas to his teammate, but he weighed in at 366, so a big boy. I really got to see these linebackers. These linebackers go at it. Dallas Turner, Peyton Wilson, Cedric Gray. I'm not sure if Junior Colson ran a Michigan linebacker.
No, he's not participating in the drills. I don't think. At least he hasn't gone yet because I was just looking.
So these running backs were moving today. So they were targeting, like they said, 4.62 is about a good range for these linebackers to run. There was like 12 or 13 guys who ran under 4.6. So it just tells you the athleticism you need a linebacker in order for you to have a successful NFL team. You look at the Chiefs, what they're doing. You look at the 49ers, what they're doing. Even the Bears had a good linebacker unit this year. So you got to have some guys who can move in space, who can cover, especially today, the Baltimore Ravens. So you definitely need some coverage guys, some guys who can thud and hit you in the mouth, man. So
I think what's interesting is you got guys like Patrick Queen, who obviously from the Ravens wants to get paid. Guys like Roquan Smith that did get paid by the Ravens. So you can go and pay these linebackers $20 million a year. Obviously, rookie linebackers aren't going to be as productive. We've seen with Jack Campbell. You can get these lower end guys like Anzalone that come out and play well. But yeah, if you can get these fast linebackers that can move around, that can cover, maybe you want a guy that can get into the A gap or B gap and stop a run. I mean, it seems like this is the draft. This is probably the deepest draft of my recent memory that I've seen for all around positions, especially offense. I know I've been texting you guys all day about it, and I've talked about him before. He was really far in drafts. I'm sure after this combine, he's going to shoot up the boards. But my guy Brandon Fisk from FSU, he had 8.5 sacks last season. Interior defensive lineman. He's 6'4", 294. He was flying today. He ran a 4.78 at almost 300 pounds, which is crazy to me. 35-inch vertical. Just an athletic freak. And I sent you guys that new tracker. They always do the 40-yard dash of guys going against each other. He was doing the SWAT drills against not Sweat, with the other guy from Texas, whose name escapes me. But he was he was flying. So that's a guy that I would love. Obviously, that's a position. Byron Murphy. That's a guy, the position of need for the Lions. I would, take him in the second round, and maybe even move back early in the second round, or pick him in the first if he's climbing this high. But yeah, he looked good. I know that Sweat said, "Watch me, I'm going to be moving." He ran a 5.27. I thought that was pretty funny. But he is almost 400 pounds, so that's like a freight train running wild on the track. So I mean, yeah, it's interesting to see these guys. It just seems like every year these guys are getting more and more athletic and better than what we've seen in the past. So I'm interested to see. Obviously, the offensive positions. Being a Lions fan, I'm not going to be really paying too much attention to those guys because they don't need that. But today was probably the most. Today and what is it? Saturday? Is that when the DBs go?
DBs go tomorrow. The DBs go tomorrow with the tight ends.
Oh yeah, okay. And then quarterbacks go Saturday. Big day Saturday. So
Quarterbacks, running backs, receivers. One guy before we shift off to that I think is my sleeper guy that I need you guys to keep a lookout on is a guy out of Colorado State, Muhammad Kamara. If you guys remember that game against Colorado State where it was felt like we was up till 3 a.m. He was all over the field, man. He ran a 4.57, second fastest time at the combine for defensive lineman. He's about 6'3", 6'4", about 250 guys, super athletic. I think he said he's met with all 32 teams already, so I think he's the next factor for a guy, maybe a high second-round pick, the third-round pick, but I think this guy's going to make an impact from day one in the league.
Yeah, my family was at that game. My nephew
I would
goes.
love to see the Lions to take for sure.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
I remember him that Colorado State game. He was all over the field. I remember that.
Yeah, my nephew goes to Colorado, so they were at that game and they were there for all the overtimes. My sister's watching right now, I know. So they said it was a great time. I do remember that too. It was an electric game. Yeah, I mean, a lot of those guys, I think they're gonna climb, and there's gonna be a lot of teams looking at this and really, I don't know. I mean, I trust Brad Holmes. We're going to have to see what he does, but there's going to be a lot of interior defensive linemen that are going to be moving up this draft that people didn't expect, and a lot of edge guys. Another guy that you guys know I like, not just because I like Florida State and I'm wearing the burgundy tonight, but I think Jared Verse, obviously, I think he's moving up. They had him going in the later half of the draft, but Adrian and I were talking about it. I think after today, he's going to move back up to that top 12, top 10 spot. So a team like maybe if the Vikings get rid of Danielle Hunter, they'll try and pick him up. I know they need a quarterback, but I mean, an edge like that in the first round, you can't really pass up on him. But we'll have to see. I mean, a lot of talent in this year's draft, man.
Yeah, Kamara, 6'1", 248, 32 and 3/8 arm length, 8 and 5/8 hands. He did 4.57 in the 40, a 1.58 in the 10-yard split. And I think what people need to realize is for defensive linemen, the split is super important because it measures your quickness and how you can get off the ball. And we kind of gauge how guys can get off the ball. I know the 40 was impressive, but vertical jump 34.5, a broad jump of 10.3. So it tells you his athleticism is there. So put him on the line, he can get to the quarterback. So that's what you want to see from these guys. That's
another thing I was looking at too, with like a guy that was mocked and said that he grew up watching the Lions, whether that's hearsay or not. Darius Robinson from Missouri, he had a solid vertical at 35. Obviously, that's way higher than I can jump, but his 40 was pretty slow. So the explosiveness, might not be there. I know he's a transferred interior to an edge guy. So I know he ran a 5 or something like that.
He said he was playing at 305 when he was inside playing the 3 technique. Now they moved him outside, so I believe he got down to 285. So he's fluctuating between weights. So I think he's got to kind of learn to, depending on. I think for him it's going to matter on scheme and the fit for him, where they're going to play him and what he's going to play at. So I think he has to get comfortable with that. I don't think his body's used to that yet.
I think a guy you're going to see maybe slide a little bit is Latu out of UCLA. I know that he
medicals.
The medicals, and he just his combine performance wasn't great. He ran a 4.64 for an edge guy is solid, but I mean, there's so many other guys that moved up, like you said. Kamara moved up. Chop, I talked about him. He measured in. He was listed as 6'3". He's 6 foot. He got brought in as 6 foot. I guess they measured him out at. So that kind of I feel like will hinder teams, and he'll drop. So I think a lot of the guys that they anticipated going early are gonna go back. A guy that I think could maybe go is his other teammate, Adisa Isaac. He had a good, solid day. I think that'll move him up. So you could see them maybe go round 2 or 3. But yeah, I'm excited for tomorrow to see these cornerbacks play too.
For sure. What about a guy like JJ McCarthy? You think he can help out his draft stock here at the combine?
He absolutely can, I believe.
He could be one of those guys where it could help him. I know a lot of like the mock expert guys that have been doing this a while have him up in the top 10. It can definitely help him and keep him in that top 10. I don't think he's going to go over, obviously, the main top 3 that are there. If he does a pro day, it can also help him, but it can also hurt him too. Obviously, he doesn't have pressure. He can show his athletic ability, but he's got to show his accuracy, which he did show during the season, but he's got to be able to show that he doesn't have to sling the ball 90 miles an hour to a receiver, just doing a crossing route or something like that. So that can help his stock. But if he keeps, throwing fastballs down the middle and guys are dropping him, it can maybe hurt him. But I think he goes anywhere. I think if anything, he'll stay in the top 10, maybe move up two spaces, but to like an Atlanta. But I don't see him going anywhere higher than Jaden Daniels, Drake May, or Caleb Williams. Again, he's one of those guys. The last thing I'll touch on, he's one of those guys that he's very young. I think he definitely he gives you that aspect because, like we said, he'll be like 20, 22, I think, when the season starts. Having him sit behind someone would be helpful. So if like a Minnesota drafted him and they kept Kirk Cousins, that'd be, or if they sign Kirk Cousins in Atlanta and he gets drafted by Atlanta, like that would be big. Or the Raiders. That's another big one. Like anywhere he can go and sit would be very beneficial for JJ McCarthy. I think that'll help his career immensely. If you put him like, let's say the Patriots drafted him at 3 because they liked him so much, and he has to trot out there with a terrible wide receiver room and they have nobody there. I think that would hurt his NFL career really bad.
Yeah, for sure. So Adrian, what quarterback you think should be rated higher? Who would you take higher, Drake May or Jaden Daniels?
I would. Me personally, I like Drake May, but I think Jaden Daniels is a little more polished right now because he's played more football than Jaden Daniels. But I guess it kind of depends on who you want to go with. If it was me, I'm personally taking Drake May. I like the tools. He's kind of similar to Justin Herbert. Put him in the right system. Get some of his he gets real antsy in the pocket. He gets blitzed a little bit and he has no answer for it. So I'm just kind of tuning to find things up. But I like the tools. I like the traits. I like the production. I think his best football is ahead of him. Jaden Daniels is a 5th-year senior coming out. He's a little older. Drake May has a lot more to work with his ceiling. Even his lowest ceiling, I think he'll be as good as some of the quarterbacks that's in the league now. But if you can tap that potential, believe he can be just as good as Justin Herbert, if not better, being in the right situation.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely has the tools to be a great quarterback. We'll have to see what happens tomorrow in the pro day. I would take Jaden Daniels. I honestly would take Jaden Daniels over Caleb Williams personally, just because of the personal stuff that goes on with Caleb Williams. You got it. You have to bring that into the scenario here. He doesn't have an agent like Lamar didn't have an agent. His dad was trying to say that he's such a generational talent that he all the rookie contract. So there's some variables between Caleb Williams that is a polarizing question on the contract side, but Jaden Daniels, I just think is a little less crazy, and he's probably ready to just go in and play. You put him on a team. I mean, if you put any of these guys on a team with weapons, they're gonna play well. But yeah, I personally like Jaden Daniels' mechanics. I like his maturity. I think that he can give you kind of a Lamar aspect with maybe a little bit of mobility, but he definitely has that mobility movement of Lamar. I think everybody's comparing Caleb Williams to Patrick Mahomes, which hurt him because there's not really a guy like Patrick Mahomes, and we know that. The closest thing to him is probably Josh Allen, because they're just both very solid players. But yeah, I don't know. There's something about Caleb Williams. I have to, see his maturity in the league, but yeah, you put him in the wrong situation, he can, flame out fast. And that's why I think Chicago shouldn't take him, because I just don't think they have all the correct pieces around him. But yeah, for me, I think Drake May is the third guy in this class. I think Jaden Daniels should be ahead of him.
Okay. Should be interested to see how those guys test out. They throw what, Saturday?
Yeah, Saturday.
Saturday. Yep.
Okay. So yeah, we got to see we got to see how they end up testing. Are all those guys throwing? Are all those guys participating?
I don't think Caleb Williams is throwing.
No, Drake, Caleb, Drake, and Jaden aren't throwing. JJ is, I believe. I think I haven't heard anything about Bo Nix. Penix is throwing. I think those 3 are throwing though for sure.
Yeah, I haven't really looked into Jordan Travis either, if he's healthy enough to throw, which I wouldn't assume he would be.
I doubt he's even.
I know he's there.
Yeah,
but I don't think he's throwing.
Yeah. I think Jordan Travis is a good guy to draft and just stash him away for this season.
Yeah.
Then he's gonna have like a Hendon Hooker year. He's just gonna have a year off, and year two he can come and potentially be a starter. So yeah. And Michigan 18 players at the combine, the most by any school. Had to sneak that in there for Reid.
Before we continue that, but how many and this isn't a knock on them by any means, but why do these players go to the combine if they're not going to perform in any of the drills that they're doing? I obviously get they go to interview with teams, but show what you got. I would like to know the percentage of people that get hurt in the combine participating in drills. These guys should be out there playing. I obviously think Blake Corum's going to perform in drills, but I've seen a guy like Junior Colson out there would have been nice to see. I've told you guys I'd like the Lions to draft him in a later round, but I think
Junior probably has a legit reason he played most of the year with a cast and some injuries, so he's probably trying to heal and get ready for the pro day. But certain guys, if you're going to be a first round pick, these guys aren't trying to damage their stock. They're just trying to be. You got the agents telling them this, family telling them this, telling them that. So they're just doing it for the optics. And then when you go to your pro day, especially for quarterbacks, they get to throw against air, so it makes them look even better than what they actually could be or actually might be. So I just think it's one of those things. Most of the guys that go in, they're only going to talk to the teams anyways. Like Marvin Harrison, for example, he's not doing a pro day. He's not doing combine. He's just doing interviews.
All right, here we go. Hang on. JJ, Penix, Nix, Rattler, Hartman, Leary from Kentucky, Joe Milton, Michael Pratt from Tulane, Austin Reed from Western Kentucky, Caden Slovis from BYU will all be participating. Jaden Daniels, Drake May, Caleb Williams, all opt-outs, and then obviously Jordan Travis, because of injury, will not be passing.
What you think Joe Milton's going to get drafted?
I do.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's 100%.
I think Joe Milton. I think he's another good guy to draft and bench behind someone because he does have good mechanics he does have the mechanics to be a solid passer. Yeah, he has the arm talent. He has the mobility. He can almost be like an Anthony Richardson type, just not as polished. I think if you sit him behind someone, teams that might need a quarterback, I can't think off the top of my head that are drafting later on. But yeah, I think if you draft him in a later round, I think he'll go 5 or 6. I think he'll go in day 3, but I don't see him.
Round pick.
Yeah, I don't see him being a guy that people are gonna fly off the shelves to get. But I definitely think he'll get drafted. Guys like Brock Purdy drafted, and no knock on Brock Purdy, but a team will take a flyer on him for sure.
A Brock Purdy type guy would be right now coming in to draft the guys that you just named would be like a Keaton Slovis, same kind of body type, same kind of arm. So if Brock Purdy can get drafted, he'll definitely be. Joe Milton showed flashes when he was at Michigan, and he showed flashes when he was at Tennessee. He probably has a Josh Allen type arm. He can throw the ball to outer space and just refine those mechanics, and maybe you can find a team that could do something like that. Draft him, maybe develop for a year or two, and see if he has if he can work on the small, intricate things to be an elite quarterback instead of just always trying to throw the ball 75 yards every time. But he can throw the deep ball, no doubt about it.
Yeah, he tries to throw it 75 yards every time, or he panics and runs it. He needs to get some pocket presence, some pocket awareness before he starts in an NFL game.
Yeah, he got a lot of the tools and the intangibles. He just needs to put it all together.
And one guy I'm holding out hope for, and I think he can really show the scouts something, is Spencer Rattler. I know he got up to a solid start at Oklahoma and had to transfer and lost his job to Caleb Williams eventually. Showed some flashes at South Carolina. I know they didn't have a good team, especially this year, but I think he has the potential to really impress scouts. He's got a really good arm. He's tall enough. He's probably a shade over 6 feet. We'll see when the measurements come in Friday, but that's a guy to kind of look out for.
I've never been a big Rattler guy, but I did see I don't remember what it was on, maybe Adrian's favorite PFF or something like that. But I think they said something that he's the best quarterback prospect in this draft. So we'll have to see. I don't think he's going to jump up to the first round by any means, but
probably third round. I'll say he goes third. I'll say he'll be a third round pick right now. That would be my guess.
I just think one of these guys is going to end up falling. Like it's gonna be like a Levis type situation. And I'm not saying like Bo Nix it's going to either be Drake May or JJ are going to be one of the two. I don't think Jaden Daniels or Caleb are going to fall like that, but I think it's going to be Drake May, JJ. I know that's it's not an unpopular opinion, but maybe Penix will probably fall to a later round. But I
heard a lot of people saying that just because of the fact that he's a pocket passer, and once you're able to get pressure on him, he's not a runner, so you can get pressure right up on him. He's not
older injury history.
Yeah, so we'll see. But I think one of these quarterbacks that nobody can guess. I mean, we got the Drake May, Jaden Daniels, and Caleb Williams. I think one of the quarterbacks outside these guys will become a superstar. Just gonna throw it out there. I don't know who it's gonna be, but I believe one of these guys will be a future star in the league.
For sure. So Tuesday show we'll have a combine wrap up. We'll have our grades. We'll see how everybody throws, how JJ looks, and stay tuned for that. So speaking of quarterbacks, Adrian, so where are you at with Jared Goff and the Lions? Do you think it's important for the Lions to get this deal done, this extension done with Jared Goff this season, or you think they're going to shoot yourself in the foot by kicking the can down the road?
No, I mean, you're not going to take your supposed to be franchise quarterback on last year. I think they could have got him done last year and could have got it done for cheaper. But let's think about this. Let's think about this. Is as much as we talk about salary cap and how the NFL is structured, we see all the time these teams complain about cap space, but these teams find a way to make cap space that isn't there. Yeah, if you're paying Jared Goff anywhere between $40 and $45 million, just say that's what the report is from Jordan Schultz, I believe it was from Bleacher Report. That's a steal, and I think Jared Goff is giving the Lions a hometown discount just because they took a flyer on him and gave him the ability. You got to think some of these guys are making $50 million right now. The Dak Prescott, the Kirk Cousins, Patrick Mahomes right now, he's making in the $40 million range, but that's going to go up extremely high because he's trying to become the greatest quarterback of all time. But you got guys like that. Justin Herbert's making $50 million plus. Joe Burrow's contract's about to kick in. So I think him taking that, give him the contract, give him this 40-45, and you'll still have plenty enough. You'll have plenty enough money down the line. I looked at the cap space for this year and next year. They're fine. They're in good shape. They can sign them. Still have the money to sign Sewell, sign Amara St. Brown, and keep it moving. These Lions fans that want to see Hendon Hooker, why? Like he hasn't taken one NFL snap. Moving. Like, what are we talking about right now? You can sign him to a 4 or 5 year deal take his $40-45 million, get his $120 million guaranteed, and the cap's going to continue to rise. There's going to be guys that continue to surpass him. Jalen Hurts is making $50 million. So Jared Goff is giving the Lions a discount. Sign him. Stop being ungrateful. And you guys are going to be real upset if you're complaining about Lions fans, specifically, not us, but being mad that they gave him $40-45 million and he leaves. What's your next best option? You think you're going to be able to go win the Super Bowl? No shot.
I mean, I obviously like to see the Hendon Hooker experiment, but I will wait till the preseason when he can take snaps against other NFL team. I don't want to just get rid of. Well, you have Jared Goff for one more year, but if they choose whether Goff wants the extension now or he says just wait until next year, that's up to him. But like Adrian said, I don't think you'll get him for $40 million, unfortunately. But I think I wouldn't. As much as crazy as it is, I wouldn't complain about like a 4-year, $180 million contract. Like over time, the cap went up this year, $30 million. The cap's going to go up next year. Like Penei Sewell, he's a first-round pick. You can exercise his 5th-year option and sign him next year. You save cap space this year. Sign a guy like St. Brown. Maybe Jared Goff will take a lesser deal, like a Tom Brady type situation, and he'll show guys, I want to win this. I think we have an opportunity to win this, and then maybe other guys will follow suit. Maybe St. Brown will say, okay, don't make me the highest paid wide receiver, make me a top 5 paid or highest wide receiver. Put me in there. Other guys you got to think that are going to get paid, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, like guys are like other wide receivers are gonna you can either set the bar now with St. Brown, wait until, maybe those other guys get signed. But yeah, cap space, Adrian has talked about it before. It's kind of a made up number. I think unless you're a team in cap space hell who keep restructuring contracts, you're going to get stuck. So teams like the Chargers and the Saints and them, I think they can work it out for players. But I think a lot of players also realize that they're in cap space hell. They're not going to be able to stick around. They'll leave. But Jared Goff definitely should get paid because he showed you that he took you to an NFC Championship game, which you probably should have won, but he played well. He was second in the league in passing yards. Pay the guy. It's cap space shouldn't. If they have $50 million in cap space right now, it shouldn't be a worry for any Lions fan to think that paying Jared Goff right now is going to hurt your team long term. You also have to remember that like good teams like the Chiefs and the Eagles and the Patriots of the past, like they have people around them. They have cap space experts to realize and figure out how to make the cap stretch and how to work it. So if you pay them now, it's not going to be a big deal. They know what they're doing. They're not just me, you, and Adrian going into this and thinking, okay, we have to pay this guy this much and it's going to cost this much. And it's going to be like, you can't think that far down the road. If you're thinking that far down the road, you're never going to win. You kind of have to think in the now. If he gets paid, he gets paid. I think he deserves it for sure. And if he leaves, he's going to go to another team that's going to, he's going to probably play well on another team. You have all the pieces in place. But like another thing you have to think about too is other guys that might leave. Like, are you going to extend Eric Decker when Taylor Decker? I'm sorry. Taylor Decker, and he's 31 years old. Frank Ragnow almost retired like after the season because of all his injuries. Like, you need another center possibly. Like, you need to draft that next center. If he wants to play more, you're going to pay him. It's just all going to work itself out in the long run. Does Goff need to get extended? Yeah, I think quarterbacks are a dime a dozen. If he gets paid like a top 10, like Daniel Jones got a 4-year 160. You think you can pay Goff a 4-year 180 and you're going to complain about that? Like, come on.
That's
go home, fall asleep. It's all going to fall into place. It'll be fine. You're not going to lose anything signing these guys to deals right now.
That's what happens when Lions fans are finally get a taste of winning. These winning franchises are used to this, so they understand how to operate under situations where you are constantly winning, and not you, Reid, but a lot of just casual fans don't understand the idea of what it takes to maintain a championship caliber team. You got to pay guys. Like, guys are going to walk. Jared Goff's thrown 78 touchdowns and only 27 interceptions since he's been with the Lions, and I'm sure he's top 5 in passing yards since he's been here. And that's coming from the first year he got here when he was 3-10 and got off to a bad start. So just think about where they've come. Brad Holmes has done a phenomenal job of developing the talent and drafting him, and he's putting him in a position. You drop the quarterback in there, you keep developing that offensive line, pay St. Brown, draft well, supplement a trade here or there, and keep building this. You're gonna pay him. It's gonna work. It's gonna work and stuff, like you said. These Lion fans are freaking out. They don't know what to do, and if you don't sign him, you're gonna be mad because guess what? Hendon Hooker's gonna play, and as soon as he's not good, you're gonna be calling for Joe Schmo 2 to come in because you're gonna say Hendon Hooker sucks. So Jared Goff got revitalized by the Lions, and he's playing with that chip on his shoulder, and he continues to do that. So that's gonna bode well for the Detroit Lions. They keep drafting well, sign guys, and do what you got to do. You sign your players, and guess what's gonna happen? Guys will want to come play for the Detroit Lions because they know the organization has turned it around, and they want to pay guys. Guys will be willing to come here. Maybe a Snead comes here. Maybe he says, "Hey, I'll take the trade to come to the Detroit Lions." You never know. Maybe, like you talked about, Marshawn Lattimore might be like, "All right, I want to come play here." You never know. So these things all add up. If there's a great quarterback, then you see what's going to happen. You already see this division with Jordan Love, how good he is. We don't know what the Vikings are going to do with Kirk Cousins. Chicago's probably getting Justin Fields. So you have to take advantage of this window, especially with the NFC. Brock Purdy in San Francisco, Jalen Hurts. So Lion fans, stop freaking out. Pay Jared Goff, and let's keep it moving and work on what we need to do with the rest of the team.
No offense, and sorry, Raj, I know that you probably have some chime in on this, but no offense to Adrian. Like, look at teams like the Steelers who
no offense at all.
Like, who can be a playoff team, but they just don't have a good quarterback. Like quarterbacks are kind of like a dime a dozen, and
Thank you.
You have a top 10 quarterback, like top 10 to top 5 quarterback, you have to keep him. Look at the Seahawks. Like, Geno Smith isn't great, but their team has been winning with him. Like, there's teams that would kill to have him. The Bucks are talking about signing Baker Mayfield, but they also have so many guys that are leaving. Like, you can't pay everybody, and you're going to have to sacrifice some guys that might not be back. Yes, you're going to pay your Sewells because he's a perennial tackle. Like, he's probably the best tackle in the league next to Trent Williams. You're going to pay Aiden because Aiden is a great edge rusher, and he's a Lions guy. You're going to pay St. Brown because he's a solid wide receiver, but like, some of these guys are going to be gone. Like, you're not going to have, all these guys that you fall in love with. Like everybody's talking about, you have to sign a Lee McNeil. Lee McNeil's not going to cost you an arm and a leg to re-sign. He was a second round pick, and he played really well. He's a solid defensive interior defensive lineman, but he's not going to cost you Aaron Donald money to re-sign him. Like, he's going to, you're going to be able to get him on a decent contract. So don't stress, let it play out. Like, sign Jared Goff and let the chips fall where they may. He's a good quarterback, and you're just lucky enough to have him.
Yeah, agreed for sure. Yeah, I'd get it done sooner rather than later. There's no need to kick the can down the road. Just get it done, get it out the way. The price is only going to go up if you keep kicking the can down the road. Just that Brad Holmes, these guys, they know how to maneuver, get more cap space. You release Tracy Walker, so that freed up a little bit of cap space right there. Just go ahead, get the deal done, and then build the rest of the roster out in free agency and the draft, preferably the defense.
Yeah, for sure. Corner is number one priority for the Detroit Lions right now. And real quick, as we moving on from that, I think Lions fans, just relax. I don't think this is even a topic of conversation that we need to be having. But as the Steelers point you made, Reid, totally agree. Omar Khan had an interview today. I seen it where he talked about basically saying that they have some faith in Kenny Pickett, but they need to bring in competition so he can be good, which pretty much tells me, hey, if you're lacking a quarterback, you're going to be behind. If they want to be content just being a middle of the pack team with that roster, you imagine, just for example, let's just say Jared Goff is on the Pittsburgh Steelers right now. Do you understand how good what kind of football team they would be? So the fact that I don't know what this organization is doing, what they're looking at, it's like, oh, okay, we're going to give Kenny a try. If you don't know it's going into his third season, you're still not sure, he's not the guy. But I'm just going to say that. And whoever they bring in is as a competition, as they would like to call it, it's probably going to be – they probably won't even bring in a Ryan Tannehill because they're too scared that Kenny is going to be threatened. But I'll believe it when I see it. So if they prove me wrong, then I will come back on this pod and tell you guys, hey, I was wrong. But I don't see what competition they're going to realistically bring in because they're going to try to let him win the job and not try to bring in a guy who's better than him.
Hey, maybe Joe Milton?
At this point, I'll take anything. I'll take Mason Rudolph back right now if we're gonna roll with him for another year. But
Joe Flacco?
Nah, not Joe Flacco. Not Joe Flacco.
Let him do the AFC North carousel and play for the Steelers.
It's bad right now.
Yeah, I mean, hey, Joe Milton or Spencer Rattler in the later rounds. I don't think that's. I think Spencer Rattler
cool.
third, fourth round.
I'm more so. I feel like Joe Milton will fit better because of the size and the weather in Pittsburgh. They could develop him, but
I think a Penix would be great in
oh yeah, 100%. Even I'll take Bo Nix. I'll take just about anybody over Kenny. I will take Russell Wilson right now. And that offense with Arthur Smith, he would be actually really good. Take him for the vet man. I don't care, but I've been on the train and I'm gonna stay on it. Until he proves me wrong, I don't see it. So you got to play. He's playing with two gloves.
The old Kurt Warner.
Gabe got an option for you, Adrian. He said Steelers could trade for Jimmy G.
Oh, they just cut Jimmy G, and he's serving the 2-game suspension. I'm good on that, Gabe. Appreciate it though.
For PEDs, I think it's gas station boner pills is probably what he took.
Oh man, Jimmy G. All right, well, yeah, let's move on here. So Reid, Caitlin Clark did announce she's foregoing her last year eligibility to enter the WNBA draft. They're saying that she's going to be making more money, NIL money in college than she's going to be making on her WNBA contract. So what do you think of that?
Yeah, I mean, I could definitely believe that she'd be doing that. making the more money it is. Staying, I honestly, she doesn't need to. I would stay and maybe get put into a better situation, because I know the first overall pick is another like Rust Belt team. I think it's like Indiana has the first.
Indiana Fever.
Yeah, so Indiana has the first overall pick. I know Matt Ishbia and the Mercury said that they would love to have her. Maybe he makes a big trade. He's been known to do that with his other team that he had. But yeah, I think that it'd be crazy. If I'm her, no shot at the WNBA here, but they don't make a whole lot of money in the WNBA as it is. She'll probably be making a lot more off of endorsements and brand deals in the WNBA and the NIL. And if she stayed in college and went the NIL, I personally think that she should just stay and stay her last year and just break all the records that she can and not let anybody else really catch her, because as we talked before the show, she's about to beat the all-time Division I scoring record in basketball. I'm about to pass Pistol Pete Maravich. And she would blow it out of the – she's going to blow it out of the water this year anyway with the tournament and the women's tournament, the Big Ten tournament and the women's tournament. Why not stay and just keep going and just make it – she could probably score 5,000 points plus, like almost 6,000, I think. But, yeah, so I mean, either way, she's going to make her money, because she's going to probably – she's already starring in State Farm commercials, so keep doing that. She's going to make more money off those brand deals and being a brand ambassador for something than she would on her WNBA salary. But the cool thing about her going, we saw it this year at the All-Star games. Sabrina Ionescu went against Steph Curry in the All-Star game. So maybe doing like Ionescu and Caitlin Clark versus Klay Thompson and Steph in like a 3-point contest, that'd be awesome. I think that's probably the biggest benefit for her is maybe participating in the men's the NBA All-Star game. I think you're going to see more of that coming to the league. So should she stay? I mean, she could. Does she need to? No. I think she's going to make her money either way. There's more freedom in the WNBA. But, yeah, I think she could break and shatter every record, and probably the records probably would never be touched for a long, long time if she stayed in college.
Yeah, I'm all for it. Anything, the women's game honestly has more star power right now than the men's game. If you're looking across the country right now, you got Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, Paige Beckers, the girl, I forgot her name. The girl
from Van Utah is big.
Yeah, the girl from Utah.
Juju Watkins is big.
So yeah, so it's like the ability for women to pretty much have to stay longer is making the women's game better instead of the men's, because you got this one and done. So it's kind of hard for you to lock into a team, especially guys are leaving every year. So it's hard to develop a relationship to have a love for a team. But the WNBA is still growing. I feel like in the next 5 to 10 years, the WNBA will add plenty of more teams to where the women's game is going to get even bigger. Kobe even talked about himself, a really big endorser of WNBA and women's basketball, and it's coming to fruition right now. There's more talent than ever than there's been in women's basketball, so it's coming to light, man. So I just think it would help. I would love to see her if she leaves and gets drafted by the Fever, because she'll be back in the Midwest, man, closer to our home area. So
those games, whoever owns the Fever is going to love it, because those games are going to be packed. That stadium is going to be full every night.
Yeah, she's from Iowa, correct?
Yeah, I believe she's from Cedar.
From Iowa, so yeah, so that's gonna help. But wherever she goes, she's gonna draw so much attention and so much money, and it just helps the women's game and it makes it much better. But I do see the WNBA, it needs to expand. Having 12 teams is not enough teams. We need at least 14 to 16 teams, man. Let's get some more teams.
Bring back the Detroit team. Bring back the Drive,
baby.
Yeah. They'd be more exciting. They probably win more games than the Pistons.
Right. Yeah. I'm all for that. We could bring a professional soccer team and
win cash, baby. Swing cash.
Before we go on, I will say this: the crazy thing is, and probably because it's becoming more on social media that they're posting it, but I think I know more college female basketball players than I know men's college basketball players. I'm gonna be completely honest with you, because I see them; they're being promoted a lot more on the Sports Center page on Instagram and stuff like that. But yeah, I just don't think, like Adrian said, that the guys are one and done for the most part. So you'll know their name when they go to the league, but I don't know a lot of guys that are in the college game right now is like that I see the women's. And I've also tuned into probably more Iowa games than any other college basketball game, just because Caitlin Clark is fun to watch. She is a very fun player to watch.
She's getting prime time. She's getting 8 o'clock Saturday prime time games.
Yeah.
Well, that's usually reserved for for men's basketball. But I think, like you said, the biggest issue is the fact that women are able to stay longer in college, so we're able to develop a relationship with these players and these teams. The guys in the college basketball are leaving after a year, maybe two, if you get lucky. And then that's why a lot of these teams and a lot of these mid-major teams are so much better and cohesive, because they have guys that are staying 3 or 4 years together. Look at the late Gonzaga teams, and you look at some of like the Missouri Valley, like the Bradleys and the Drakes, and even when Wichita State was playing, these teams are just playing more. Like that's like us, and we played AU basketball from 7th grade to 12th grade. We beat a lot of teams, even teams we weren't supposed to be, because we have the chemistry, and I think that's a major thing. So, but I'm happy for the women that are getting the shine that they deserve, man, because they're super, super talented.
Yeah, for sure. I don't see Indiana trading out of that first pick.
No.
Trading out of Caitlin Clark. I don't care what anybody offers. Yeah, they're not coming.
You won the lottery. They literally won a lottery ticket.
And the WNBA draft is it's like 4 or 5 days after the women's Final Four. So I think I believe it's the WNBA draft is April. I seen it earlier. It was April 15th. So she'll be a hot commodity for sure. But I'll definitely be tuning into this women's tournament, no doubt about it.
I'll tell you this: I might buy a Caitlin Clark jersey when she's drafted.
Good colors, black and yellow, baby. Good colors.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see though, just moving forward, how these players declare a lot now. The Shadors, the Caleb's, the Bronny James, how much money they're making in NIL now. It's not really going to be such a need to go pro, as it was back in the day, because the money's there. So it's like why rush? Why leave it?
Shador would be I think Shador would be in the conversation for a first round pick this year if he went into the draft. But obviously he's making so much. I mean, his dad had made a lot of money, but he's making so much money, even NIL. One, off his name, and two, because he actually played really, really well this year.
Good, yeah.
So it's
Caleb Williams made $10 million over the last 2 years in NIL. So that goes to show you, if the money's there, the money's there in college sports. So if you're a kid, enjoy college. Hey, have a good time, and get to the pros.
Exactly.
Look at a guy like my boy Armando Bacot. He's in his 6th year of college, but you know how much money he's making. You know how much money he's making in endorsements and NIL money playing at Carolina. He's gonna be an overseas player at best. He's not gonna be an NBA player. So enjoy it while you can. Not everybody can make it to the league.
Yeah, sorry. Oh, I was just gonna say that like these kids, I think these kids should be able to make as much NIL money as they want.
100%.
But I think that it needs to be regulated for colleges to not be able. There needs to be like a cap to not allow colleges to bring, for the sake of other smaller schools. So like a Michigan, a Bama, an LSU, like they should have like a cap put on there. Heck, Florida State spent a lot of money. Like they should have a cap for these teams to not put
guardrails.
Exactly, not be able to sign all these big names, so other schools have an opportunity to get big names. I agree. I definitely agree. Well, we can get into it next week, but they're talking about they're moving up a national signing day for college football to like December 4th, so like the first Wednesday in December, before they did have it like right before Christmas, and they're talking about possibly adding a third signing day in June and have guys sign. It's just it's a big mess that we could get into later, but I think that would be a huge mistake. But we can hop into that next week, guys, because I could talk about that for hours.
Yeah. Okay. I just wanted to close it out with some quick NBA. Current top 4 seeds in the East right now. You got Boston, Cleveland, the Bucks and Knicks. Top 4 seeds in the West. You got Minnesota, OKC, Nuggets, and the Clippers. So, Adrian, as of right now, who do you think will come out to represent the East? Who do you think will represent the West right now?
I said it before the season started, and I'm gonna stick with it. I have the Denver Nuggets versus the Milwaukee Bucks in the NBA Finals. Denver, I know they're the 3 seed, but who cares right now? Minnesota, OKC 1 and 2 right now, but I believe they have the experience. Denver is a well-oiled machine with Jokic basically putting up a triple-double every night. And and you have out the East, Boston's playing well, but anything less of an NBA Finals or championship appearance would not be good. I just think Milwaukee's starting to kind of catch the groove a little bit with the Doc Rivers thing. So we'll see what happens. But those are my two picks, man.
Yeah, I've been actually. I was talking to my other buddy about this, and it's so weird because this is like the college basketball. It's kind of so up in the air. I agree. I don't think Minnesota or OKC. I think they're a little too young. I don't think they're going to get it done. Denver's obviously a solid choice. You can't go against guys who've been there. But guys who've been there, the Clippers, I think that they're going to be hungry. I know that they just lost to the Lakers. They played kind of a bad fourth quarter, but they've played really well all season. So I think the Clippers are going to come out of the West. I think Kawhi wants to win another one. I think Paul George is real hungry. Obviously, James Harden and Westbrook are hungry. That team's playing well, and I think they've kind of got to figure it out. You guys know I'm not a huge Harden guy. I think he can kind of be a little too selfish, but I think he's pushed that aside and kind of learned what he can play as now in his age. So I would take the Clippers out of the West. The East is hard for me because Boston can't seem to get over that hump, and Doc Rivers just can never get over a hump. So I don't think Cleveland's going to do it, unfortunately, just because I don't think those guys are really going to be – I don't think they're going to have the skill and to go deep into a playoff run. I will say Boston just because I think they're overall the best team, and I don't know, something about I'll never say a Doc Rivers team is going to make it because he always somehow seems to choke it away, and it just scares me for Boston, which I hate because I love Giannis. I want Dame to win one, but yeah, I just think this is going to be the year Boston's going to finally get over the hump. So give me Boston versus the Clippers for the finals.
Okay,
cool. Good takes right there. Good takes.
You're not going to tell us yours?
I'm
try away.
No, I'm gonna stick with who I picked with at the beginning of the season. Even though I don't trust, I picked Milwaukee out the East. I'm gonna stick with that. Out the West, I picked Phoenix. I'm gonna stick with them, even though I don't. I'm like you were saying, Reid, I like the Clippers, man. The Clippers are loaded. Harden, Russ, Terrence Mann, Paul George, Kawhi, Big Zoo, T. Lue at head coach. If the Clippers could find a way to put it all together in the playoffs, get hot, I think the Clippers can make some noise. For sure. So,
my thing with the Clippers, my problem with the Clippers is I love PG. It's one of my favorite players in the league, but after that performance last night, no PG didn't play. That's tough, man. You blow a 21-point lead. I know LeBron pretty much got hot and hit psycho mode and hit 7 threes, and LeBron's acting like he's Steph Curry last night, hitting outscoring the Clippers 19-6 in the fourth quarter last night. So I don't know. I gotta see it. We'll see what happens, but I just don't see anybody beating Denver. It's just a well-oiled machine right now.
A healthy Kawhi to me is just one of the best players in the NBA still, in my opinion. That guy is unbelievable.
For sure. Absolutely. All right. Well, yeah. Good show, fellas. Anything
I did want to ask you really quick. Hopefully it doesn't last too long, but I know they've been talking about it now. We're supposed to see the 12-team playoff in college. I should have brought this up earlier before we did the show notes, but they're talking about the 12-team playoff. Now they're already talking about moving it to 14 in 2025.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that.
And I heard him talking about it on the ticket today, maybe extending the college basketball to 80 teams. That would be – we can talk about it next week, but I just want to kind of throw that out there. That's gonna piss me off more if they extend the March Madness than they do college football. You can't. The tournament is perfect the way it is. They already added the play-in games on Tuesday, Wednesday. Leave it as you make enough money. I get you one more money, but come on, it's perfect. Who it is. Now we're gonna just start letting scrub teams on the bottom of Power 5 conferences, and no. But that's gonna happen on a 14 too, Adrian. They might extend it to 18 after that. Like I agree with you. I think March Madness is perfect. I said at the beginning, I think March Madness is the best sporting event for a whole month that you can get out of any other sport. Is perfect. College football playoff, I think it should have. I don't even think it should have been 12. I think it should have just been 8 personally. But if you go higher than 12, then you're just the regular season's not going to matter because you lose 3 games, you'll probably be in. Like every team that didn't get in this last year would have been in plus more. Like it's crazy. Like you cannot extend that any more than what it already is. It should be 8, but 12 12 and then moving to 14 and 2025 is nuts to me.
Yeah,
We can talk
100%.
about it still.
Yeah, we can talk. We can talk about it next week.
All about money.
Yeah. We'll get closer to this. We'll get closer with this combine's over. We'll have more draft takes for everybody next week.
Oh yeah, definitely, guys. My favorite day tomorrow. Corners, my favorite position. DBs get to run tomorrow. Most excited.
Keep an eye out for Max Melton if he got invited. I didn't even look if he did personally.
I believe he did.
He got invited to the Senior Bowl. I don't see why he wouldn't go to the combine.
Yes, sir. All right. Well, yeah, we have the combine wrapped up next week's show. So we see you guys next Tuesday, 8 o'clock. Make sure you like the video, subscribe, turn the notifications on. I'll see y'all next week.
See you next week, boys.
See you next week, boys. Peace.